I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman.
What's up? It's Kata, aka Khalil Too Short, and I want to talk to you guys about the big bag boogeyman that's reared its ugly head in the public zeitgeist. That's right, I'm talking about the word DEI.
Brother,
Now let's get the obvious out of the way before some moron gets in their feelings and starts typing nonsense in my comments. The overall sentiment of DEI is in fact a noble one, giving people of a marginal I'm sorry. I can barely say that idiotic word. I'm sorry, hold on. Let's start over. Let's go again. Giving people who are less fortunate, there's a good one, than others an opportunity that they otherwise wouldn't get is honorable. We know throughout history, American history in particular, it was hard for people of darker complexions to get job opportunities due to prejudice. Also, women weren't even able to work, let alone vote, and that just changed like not even 50 years ago. And let's not even get started on those LGBTQ folks and the things they had to go through. So yeah, helping people get an opportunity who otherwise might not get one is a good thing. However, yeah, y'all knew that however was coming. Did you not see the title of the video? But context matters, and more importantly, implementation matters. What we've seen is something that started out noble, turned into a vehicle of social justice, an overcorrection, and an overall revenge, hate-filled movement to try and stick it to the man while not understanding they're doing nothing but hurting themselves. Kinda sounds like what happened with Hollywood in the Me Too movement, but that's a topic for another day, man. The thing about DEI is you take a person's superficiality, something that should not matter in the hiring process of any job, by the way, and you put them over someone else who may be more qualified in the name of virtue. Almost every single IP we love in Hollywood has been overrun with activists and people who think something you can't control, like your gender or your skin color, is the most important thing about you. They've used these things as vehicles to pander and tell stories not for the fans, but for their friends, for pats on the back. And now we're seeing that very same mindset trickle into the gaming industry and fail in the exact same way. But for some of these idiots, they think this is the right thing to do. It's not. The notion that a person's superficiality is a major factor in whether or not they are good at a job is absolutely insane to me. If it's not something like sports or whatever, where you need to be a certain height or have a certain kind of build in order to progress forward in said sport, that's where it makes sense. In all these other departments, it really doesn't. If you ask me, it's just another form of being racist to another group of individuals, but in a safe way.
that's got to be racist. There's no way. I'm gonna just keep it real. There's no way that is like of our culture.
It's hilarious because if you take out the races of people they usually use for these initiatives and put the word white there, then it's discrimination, then it's racism, then it's white supremacy, and all my freedoms, don't be prejudiced against me. But if that's the case that way, why isn't it the case the other way? I mean, we know why, but we would just like for them to say it. And here is where the main issue I have with it is. You have me, an obvious black man who was raised in the South, and not only that, I'm short, I was raised in a post 9/11 America with a Muslim name, and had the stigmas of wanting to be white just because my parents made sure that I knew how to speak English correctly and act accordingly in public settings. I know how it is to face adversity in this country and to overcome it. I know what happens when you work hard and prove people right or wrong and let your actions speak for themselves. With all of that in mind, here comes a company trying to give me a job and they know none of this. How insulting is it that just because I am black that you assume that I have it bad and can't do it on my own and need a handout from someone else? You label me before you even knew me. Is that not the very thing that my grandparents and great-grandparents fought to prevent? Is it not the character of a person that makes them, but rather the superficial? Why are we regressing back into this way of thinking? And why on God's green earth do people think that these things are actually authentic and not a way to keep public pressure off of them in fear of being labeled as racist or phobes or whatever other buzzword they want to come up with? It's clear as day this is all a ploy to virtue signal and not lose money, but in the process you've done the complete opposite. You've exposed how hollow you are and how much you don't really care about the people you're signaling to, and that's why it's so offensive. Because when the money dries out from your social political pandering, you're going to close those things down and disavow and fire folks and all of these things. Then how are the people you brought in after pretending to care about them supposed to feel or do or react? They're going to be let down and put into a position of feeling not enough. Not of any fault of their own, but because you pandered to them and swindled them so that you could get money from BlackRock and all these other people. And then you'll move on to the next thing you think will keep you in business, and then the cycle repeats. You use people's skin colors to make money, and then when you're done with them, you throw them out. That's funny because if you use this analogy in any other context, you could see how terrible it is. But hey, I guess I'm just reaching or something, I don't know. DEI in its entirety is an insult to the ability of a person to prove themselves and prove their worth. It's a cheap shortcut for companies to appease stockholders and their public perception. It's a legitimate racist practice that's an overcorrection of the past and an immediate response to the George Floyd situation and the Summer of Love. All in all, it's a fad. Plain and simple. And that's what makes it so terrible, because when fads end, the ones who really end up hurt are the ones tricked along the way. And I don't have to agree with them. Hell, I don't even have to like them. But wrong is wrong and we're all human. No one deserves to be lied to and let alone like you don't matter and that you're just a statistic for a company's profits. That's dehumanizing and it's bullshit, and I can't believe that people keep letting this perpetuate across like it's a good thing when it's not. So, in conclusion, fuck DEI.